Put this in your garage. We don't have a garage. Well, that's your problem. C1X is a modern vehicle for a younger customer, ultimately. Like, that's our entire customer base. Everyone who, we brought a new generation over to two-wheeled vehicles that were, high-powered.
Today, I got to sit down with one of Super 73's lead engineers, Samay, who is working on the C1X project as well as some other upcoming projects from Super 73. Samay is truly a brilliant individual who has worked for another large EV manufacturer until being brought over to the Super 73 team. I also wanted to mention we are working on a South Orange County, California group ride. I'm working on the route details this week. So stay tuned for information about that ride. Also, check the links in the description below for some discount links on some bikes and some Amazon affiliate links. I thought it would only be fitting that today I busted out my Super 73 RX Mojave modified with a 5,000 watt motor and a 72 volt battery. This thing rocks. It's basically as close as I got to a C1X at this point. So one of the things that they showed on launch day was that C1X could actually charge from 10 to 80% in 15 minutes. That said, they didn't really discuss it that day, but that also means that, say you only need 40%. So to go from 10 to 40%, it might take about 6 or 7 minutes.
If you just need to get 20 miles home, you could be leaving there in 3 to 4 minutes. And suddenly that paradigm changes completely. That is no slower than a gas fill-up.
So speaking of the battery will not be removable. However, that's because it's going to be extremely heavy, and the way it's positioned inside of the bike frame, it would just be too difficult to try to remove.
The questions that I got from people there and some people in the States were like, well, can I take my battery out and up to my apartment? And I went, look, well, there's a duality. If you want a battery that can give you fast charging and can give you the range that, I know you want based on your user habits, the battery is going to be so heavy that I guarantee you won't want to carry it up. So here's the compromise. I'll give you that battery. I'll give you that size of battery. I'll make it as affordable as possible, and I'll package it into the vehicle as tightly as possible.
Also, the C1X is not a high-powered e-bike, such as the one I'm riding right now. It is a motorcycle, so you will need to get a motorcycle license to ride it legally. So just keep that in mind. I'm actually going to be working on getting my motorcycle license this coming month. So in this next clip, Samay elaborates on having a electric charger in your garage, just like you would have with having other EVs or electric vehicles that you own at home.
You can charge at home if you have a garage and you have a charger built in, right? But you can't carry it up to your bedroom. But I'm going to make the experience of going out to a public charger as easy as possible. I'm going to make it as short as possible. I'm going to make you as compatible with every infrastructure in the world as possible. That's how I think we can solve the problem. And it's not perfect. People would want a battery they can pull out and store in their cupboard. But I think that's the best middle ground that gets people what they actually want, which is they don't want to think about charging. That's the core of it. They don't want to think about charging. They want to be as easy and worry-free and painless as possible. Home charging is multiple different levels of it. It can be as fast or as expensive as you want it to be. Right, so if you want to go home and charge within I'm talking about normal cars now. You want to charge within 2 hours and get out? No, install an 80 amp charger. But now you have to make sure the wiring in your garage supports 80 amps.
Right.
Most don't. Most houses are 30 amps. Right, so now you're paying someone to build that infrastructure to have a charger that saves you 2 hours. Right, so most people say, well, screw that. I'm just going to accept that it's an overnight thing at home.
I think most people, especially with this bike too, would ride it around.
Yeah.
Highway hop, come home in the evening, and then be like, I just want to plug it in so tomorrow I can go on again.
And that's the thing. So the most exciting thing for us has been we've unlocked this new domain of how you can use an EV. All right? No one else has given someone such an accessible vehicle with such fast charging. So everyone, and I think this is kind of a historic thing, people have built their habits around what existed in the market, what they had on offer. They're like, yeah, man, I have the fastest charging car. It does it in 45 minutes. And they're just like, yeah, 45 minutes is great. It's faster than an hour. And I'm like, yeah, but what the hell do you do in your life that takes 45 minutes? You're going to go take a shower for 45 minutes? What do you do that you're like, yeah, this is fine, this is great.
Take a bath.
You know, yeah, and I'm like, so people have just accepted it, and like people I think tend to think in deltas. They're like, well, it's 45, now it's 40, well, now it's 35. And we've just come and like smeared that completely. Right. It's 15. I can think of a lot more things that I do in 15 minutes. Hell, I can think of a lot of things I do in 7 minutes, which is, again, if you don't want that whole range, it's a 7-minute plug and play and leave, right? And now you've come down to like human behavior. You've come down to things that actually align with how people operate, you know? I'm just gonna go on Reddit for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That is such an easy, like while I'm charging, rather than, oh, I'm gonna set up my computer and go, you know, search for a house. Like or whatever, you know, you might think you might do. So Tesla has dealt with it in a different way. Tesla has done a really good job at mitigating this problem. They've added theaters in the car. Right. They've added games. It's fantastic. We don't have the real estate for that, so we just made it really fast.
The weight of the Super 73 C1X is going to be about 300 pounds, give or take. There is no exact specifications at this point, but that is what I was told up to now. November 7th through 12th in Milan, Italy is EICMA, and EICMA is a worldwide motorcycle trade show held every year, and Super 73 will be actually releasing more details about the C1X at that event.
EICMA is a motorcycle show in Italy, in Milan, held every year, and it's the biggest one in the world. Like in Europe is such a massive market for two-wheeled vehicles. Cars are just smaller there. Most people ride mopeds and motorcycles and bikes. And all of this converges from across the world at EICMA. People present their new products, present new technology, present startups, present like large companies, show off everything that they've made for the last year. And so we're going to be there this year as well, showing off where the C1X has come from when we first went there, back when we first launched, to today, as it keeps developing and refining and turning into, I guess, the product that we all want. Up till now, we've been showing off kind of our standard base model, and I can't remember the exact words here. Like, I know our design team has very specific names around all of these. But we're taking our standard, all the mules we've developed look like our standard model. But
isn't the charge port up here? Is it going to be down here now?
No.
Or is it going to be up here?
It's most likely going to be up here for two reasons. One, having gone through the user experience of this, chargers are heavy.
Right.
Like that cable I just pulled out there, that's heavy, right? I don't want anyone tipping their bike by accident.
Right.
Right? That's the most neutral, balanced spot to put it in. It's also, you don't have to bend down and squat to plug something in. It actually turns out to be really, really simple. What it negates as well, which is actually, frankly, something we like, you don't get to sit on the bike while you're charging because it's in the way.
So you got to get off, stretch your legs,
yeah,
charge for the 7 minutes or whatever.
Because frankly, it's a safety thing.
Right.
Most cars, I mean, Tesla's gone the opposite direction, but most cars don't want you sitting inside the car while it's charging. Just like they recommend you don't sit inside your car while you're fueling. It's a lot of heat is being generated.
Right.
You know, anything.
Safety hazard.
Yeah. So.
And with each of these, there's different like seat layouts, tire situations. Can you discuss if there will be options for that?
Yeah. So one of the things I really want to hone in on, and it's something that, you know, ever since I joined Super, I've seen as like a cornerstone of our community, is that people love to personalize their vehicle. I've never seen that before. But the core of what Super 73 is about, and the core of what drew me to this, is the community and the community's desire and ability to personalize and individualize the products. It just does not happen in aerospace or automotive. You pick a color, you live with that color. And what you do on the side, what kind of seat you put on it, what kind of fork and what driver position you put on, all that comes down to you. So to kind of showcase that, we fleshed out 2 variants that we really, you know, we're excited to show this at EICMA this year. So we'll be going there with 2 variants. It won't be exactly the same as this, but they're still within the same categories. But they'll show off like how different and how unique your bike can be if you want it to be, if you just customize certain parts and customize certain colors.
Next, I asked Samay to discuss how the charging network would work for the C1X as well as for upcoming Super 73 bikes.
For us, one of the core features of the C1X and every bike, every two-wheeled vehicle that we create from here on, is a superlative and amazing charging experience. Charging sucks right now. If you're not Tesla, it sucks, right? Tesla owns its infrastructure, owns the experience. You go to a Tesla-owned charger and you have a Tesla-owned experience. You plug in and it just works. It just charges you. It'll give you a monthly update as to how much you spent, right? You don't have to sit there and finick in the cold trying to figure out why it isn't plugging in. You don't have to call tech support from some random company or download a new app. You don't have to do anything. And we can't give you that, unfortunately, because we aren't a big enough company to make our own infrastructure and deploy it across all of Europe and America. But what we can do is give you fast charging and give it to you in an ecosystem that, well, make you compatible with the largest ecosystem possible, right? And if that is Tesla, that will be Tesla. That's something we're looking into. But the ability we want is you don't have to think about, is this charger compatible with my bike? Or is it the right kilowatt rating? Or is it the right connector? We just want you to set out and you're like, hey, a charger's nearby and this is going to work for me. Charging on public networks is something that if we handle well and we create or we mitigate the pain points of the whole experience from our vehicle side as well as possible, charging at home will just become like a cost-saving exercise. Because the battery is fundamentally so small and because the battery does fundamentally charge so fast, it's not going to be that much of a sacrifice to go charge it in public. If you do want to charge at home, if we either go with the CCS protocol, which if people don't know about is the combined charging system. CCS1 is what's deployed across the US. And I think under the current administration, there's been like bills to create a certain amount of charging infrastructure in the US. All that will be CCS compatible, right? So that's the predominant standard. And then you have Tesla standard that everyone is jumping on these days. And it's fantastic. It's smaller, it's lighter. Their infrastructure is so robust, but it's private. Lest people forget, it is completely private. So you're at the behest. You hope Tesla will keep letting other people use their network. And you hope that it'll stay as robust when, 10 million new people get on it suddenly in 2025.
So lastly, I kind of wanted some insight into how integrated the C1X could be. And I kind of brought up how, Tesla is kind of leading the market for electric vehicles or electric cars at this moment. So I kind of wanted to see if they had anything down the pipeline for the C1X.
I'll be honest, once you've touched a Tesla, you start experiencing features and integrations that the moment you step back or you get a rental car, you're like, how is this so bad? It didn't used to be bad before, you just normalized to it, but now you're like, but man, my seat used to just adjust for me. My car used to just lock and tell me where it was when I forgot where it was parked. And all that kind of infrastructure we want to bring to the C1X at least. And then from there, looking at our entire product portfolio as unified, right? Two-wheeled vehicles is what we create. It happens to be an e-bike, it happens to be a motorcycle. The two-wheeled vehicle architecture and the two-wheeled connected experience is something that will be the same across all our products eventually. So launch event, we did a whole public charge event at a public charger. This was our backup. We were like, okay, if we can't figure out, because EVgo was being such a bitch, like the machines that we wanted to use, they were so finicky. They were so finicky. So we were like, okay, our backup plan is to install a high voltage line into the building and to get a CHAdeMO charger. And then maybe we'll just do the whole event in here. And we'll make the call 2 days before the event.
There's the plug, guys.
But just for clarity, we're not aiming to go to market with CHAdeMO.
I was going to say, so this doesn't come with the bike?
Put this in your garage. We don't have a garage. Well, that's your problem.
All right, thank you so much for all the insight today. If you guys want to know more about some things that we couldn't even talk about on camera today, tune in to the social media for Super 73, because when they go to EICMA, they're going to be telling all kinds of secrets that I don't even know. So if you guys want to know more, that's what we do. Thanks again so much.
Hell yeah,
I
man.
appreciate it. And till the next one, guys. See ya.
I want to give a big shout out to Samay, Drew, Michael, all the guys over at Super 73 for having me over and letting me take the time to pick the brain of one of their engineers. As soon as I get any more information that I can publicly speak about, you know your boy's going to bring it to you first. With that said, thank you guys so much. Until the next one, peace.